Can you believe it? We made it to the last lesson of chapter 4, and in my world right now, it is still that snow day, and it is only 1:30 in the afternoon. The sun is out. It is beautiful. If my kids were here, they'd be jumping on that trampoline. So our last Christmas village. This is the last layer. There's special stuff for you. Look at here. You've got the ice skating girl. Wow. And all the kids sledding down the hill. And here's the train station with the people waiting for the train. And here's the cool train. It's got a cool wreath in the front. And it's carrying presents and trees. And there's the little caboose. Yay, the village is done. All right, but we're not done. We have one more lesson. So here we go. It is not really anything that new. We're doing our same techniques with dividing. It's just that we have mixed numbers now. Let's look at the real world link. Extreme geography. The deepest point in Earth's ocean is the Mariana Trench, which is located 6 4/5 miles beneath the ocean surface. The average depth of Earth's oceans is 2.5 miles. By contrast, the highest elevation of Earth is Mount Everest, which is about 5.5 miles high. So write a division expression to find how many times as deep the Mariana Trench is than the average depth. So the Mariana Trench is 6 4/5 miles. The average ocean depth is 2.5. And over here, write a division expression to find how many times as tall Mount Everest is than the average ocean depth. So Mount Everest was 5.5, and the average ocean depth is 2.5. Now, rewrite the mixed number of 6 4/5 as an improper fraction. So 5 times 6 is 30, plus 4 is 34/5. And rewrite this mixed number. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11 halves. And you know what? I want you to write 2.5 as an improper fraction. So 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5 halves. Now watch what we do. Instead of saying 6 4/5 divided by 2.5, we use the improper fraction 34/5 divided by 5 halves. So this is 34/5 divided by 5 halves. Now remember, you can swap out the division for multiplication. So 34/5 times, flip for the reciprocal, and that right there is going to give you your answer. Now we can't simplify, so let's multiply across. 2 times 34 is 68. 5 times 5 is 25. Now, 68 and 25 twice is 50, plus 18 is a remainder. So this is 2 18/25 times as deep. What about this? 5.5 was 11 halves. Divided by 2.5 was 5 halves. Which equals, with our trick, swap the division for multiplying, flip this for the reciprocal. We can simplify that out and multiply across. And 5 goes into 11 twice with 1 left over. So this is 2 1/5. Mount Everest is 2 1/5 times as tall as the average ocean depth. And the Mariana Trench is 2 18/25 times deeper than the average ocean depth. So it's about a little over double. So that's all we're going to do, you guys. We're turning mixed numbers into improper fractions and using the same technique that we have been using for division. Multiply by the reciprocal. This first part is going to be about dividing a mixed number by a fraction. So you'll have the dividend as the mixed number, fraction as the divisor. And on the other side, you're going to have both dividend and divisor as mixed numbers. Either way, the same rule applies. Dividing mixed numbers is similar to dividing fractions. To divide mixed numbers, 1, write the mixed number as an improper fraction. 2. Divide as with fractions. Sweet. Let's do it. By the way, this is interesting. You can check the answer of example 1 by multiplying the quotient by the divisor. So if you remember, once you get this answer, we'll go back to this and we'll multiply the quotient by the divisor. So 1 3/4 divided by 2/5. 1 3/4 is 7/4. 4 times 1 plus 3 divided by 2/5, or multiply by the reciprocal. And that 7 times 5 is 35. 4 times 2 is 8. That's 4 3/8. Now, you can take this 4 3/8, or 35/8, and you can multiply this quotient by the divisor. So 35/8 times 2/5 should give you 1 3/4. So they did that out. They simplified, they multiplied across. 7/4 is 1 3/4. It works. All right, let's do number 2. 3 3/4 divided by 4/5. Now, if you estimate, which you guys know is not always super close when we're working with fractions, this is close to 4, and this is close to 1. And 4 divided by 1 is 4. So our quotient should be about 4. Hopefully. So 3 3/4 divided by 4/5. What is this as an improper fraction? 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3. 12, 13, 14, 15/4 divided by 4/5 is the same as 15/4 times 5/4. Flipping that reciprocal. So 15, we can't simplify this, can we? So 15 times 5. Now that would be 75. 4 times 4 is 16. 75 divided by 16. Now 15 went into it 4 times. What's 16 times 4? 24. 64. With a remainder of 11. So this is 4 11/16. So 4 11/16 is, I would say, closer to 5, but sure, you could say it's close to what we predicted. You could also multiply this 4 11/16, or 75/16, times 4/5. So if you simplify and divide by 4, and you divide this by 5, it gives you 15/4. Now 4 goes into 15 3 times, with 3 left over, and that is our dividend number. So on the quiz, you can go through and you can check everything and make sure that it works. That'd be a really good idea. Okay, let's write this in simplest form. 2 3/8. Let's change that to an improper fraction. 16, 17, 18, 19/8 times 4/1. All right, simplify here. Multiply across. 2 times 9 is 18, which gives us 1 left over. What about this? 2 1/2. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5/2. Swap that, flip that. Can't simplify, so we multiply across. Okay, 6 times 5 is 30. So 35 divided by 6 would be 5, with a remainder of 5. All right, so 5 5/6. And then 5 5/8. So 8 times 5 is 40 plus 5. So that would be 45/8 times, let's flip that, 4/3. And I think we can divide 45 by 3. That would be 15. And we can divide both of those by 4. So it would be 15 over 2. And 2 times 7 is 14 with 1/2 left over. Sweet. Now, same thing on this side, except both of our numbers, the dividend and the divisor, are going to be mixed numbers. So to divide a mixed number by another mixed number, change both mixed numbers to improper fractions, and remember to simplify before you multiply. That's going to be really important because it will make your life easier. So 5.5, they're saying, is close to 6. 2.5 is close to 3. Answer should be close to 2. 5.5 is 11 halves. 2.5 is 5 halves. Multiply by the reciprocal. Simplify, multiply across. 11/5 is 2 1/5. This one right here, 4 2/3 divided by 1 3/4. So this is kind of like 5. Oh, by the way, was that close? 2 1/5? Yeah, that was close to what we estimated. 1 3/4, that'd be close to 2. Ooh, 5 divided by 2. Half of 5 is like 2.5. You could also do 5 times 1/2, right? Because that's the reciprocal, which would give you 5 halves, which is 2.5. Okay, so now 4 2/3. 3 times 4 is 12. 13, 14. 14/3 divided by 4, 5, 6, 7 fourths. So this is going to be like multiplying 14/3 times 4 sevenths. Now we can simplify this. Divide by 7. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3. So 3 goes into 8 twice, 6, 7, with 2/3 left over, which is close to what we predicted up here. 2 2/3 is about 2.5. So let's try these down here. 4 1/5. 4 1/5. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1. 21/5 divided by 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7/3. So this is like 21/5 times 3/7. You can simplify by dividing by 7, then multiply across. 9/5. So 5 goes into 9 once with 4 leftovers. 1 4/5. This one is like 8 over 1 divided by 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 halves. So it's like 8 over 1 times 2/5. All right, you can't simplify, so you have to divide. 16/5. 5, 10, 15, 3 with 1/5 left over. And what about this? 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5, 14 ninths, divided by 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. All right, can we simplify? No. So we have to, we have to first turn this into multiplication. 14 ninths times 3/7. Now we can simplify. Divide by 7. Divide by 3. Beautiful. 2 times 1. 3 times 1. Oh, I love it when it's so pretty like that at the end. Let's look at our last example. Oh, pandas. The average adult male giant panda weighs about 1 1/5 times as much as the average adult female. All right, so it's a little bigger. If the average weight of a male giant panda is 330 pounds, how much does the average female panda weigh? So it's divided, that weight divided by 1 1/5. So 330 divided by 1 1/5 is like 330 over 1 divided by 6/5. Multiply by the reciprocal. Simplify by dividing by 6. 55 times 5 is 275. 1 times 1 is 1. So there you go. The average female giant panda weighs about 275 pounds. Wow, it's a lot compared to a human. All right, guided practice is next. So for our guided practice, we're doing 1, 2, 3. So writing in simplest form after we divide. And then 4 and 5. And you can check by multiplying. Here we go. Number 1, 3.5 divided by 1/2. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Now we have an improper fraction and we can multiply by the reciprocal. So let's simplify here. 7 over 1. So can we take 7 over 1 and multiply by 1/2 to get 3.5? Think, what's 7 times a half? What's half of 7? It's 3.5. So that makes sense. What about this? 2 and 2/3. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2 is 8/3 for our improper fraction, divided by 6. 7/6, which equals 8/3 times 6/7. Now, we can simplify here. 6 divided by 3. We can multiply across. 16/7 times 1 1/6, which was 7/6, should give us 8/3. All right, so let's see. These could both divide by 2. 8/3. So that is all correct. Now 16/7, 7 goes into 16 twice with 2 left over. All right, 6 and 2/3. So 3 times 6 is 18, 19, 20/3. Divided by 7 times 2 is 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20/7. That is equal to multiplying by 7/20. You can simplify those by dividing by 20 and then multiply across 7/3. Now, does 7/3 times 20/7 right here give us 20/3? Let's see. This can simplify. That would be 20/3. So that works. So 7/3 is what? 3 goes into 7 twice with 1/3 left over. Perfect. So these right here, you guys, are examples of how you can check your work by multiplying the quotient by the divisor. Number 4, a box of snack-sized cracker packs weighs 28.5 ounces. Each snack pack weighs 4 3/4 ounces. So how many snack packs are in the box? If you have this divided by 4 3/4, it'd tell you how many packs there were. 28.5 times 4 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry, divided by. So 28.5. 2 times 28. 16, 56, plus 1 is 57/2, divided by 4 times 4 is 16, 17, 18, 19/4. That can swap out for multiplication. Then we can simplify by dividing by 2 and multiply across. I don't think we can simplify those. So 57 times 2. 114 over 19. Now, how many times does 19 go into 114? It's like 20. 2, 4, 6, 80, 100. What's 19 times 5? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's 19 times 6? Ooh, it's 114, so it goes in exactly 6 times. So there are 6 snack packs. And the soccer team has 16.5 boxes of wrapping paper left to sell. If each of the 12 players sells the same amount, how many would each person sell? So there's 16.5 divided by 12 players. That would be like 12 over 1. So 2 times 16 is 32 plus 1 is 33. So this is 33 halves times 1/12. Now we can simplify, I think. What if you divide by 3? 33 divided by 3 is 11. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 11 times 1 is 11. 2 times 4 is 8. That's 1 3/8. So each player sells 1 3/8 of a box. Wow. So this is the same thing we've been doing. It just looks like more because you have to turn the mixed numbers into improper fractions. Moving on to the independent practice. Okay, for the independent practice, we're doing 1 through 5. Let's look at the story problems. The length of a kitchen wall is 24 2/3 feet long. A border will be placed along the wall of the kitchen. The border comes in strips that are 1 3/4 feet long. So this whole border is 24 2/3. Each strip is only 1 3/4. So how many different strips are there going to be? And then Jay is cutting a roll of biscuit dough into slices that are 3/8 inch thick. If the roll is 10.5 inches long, how many slices can he cut? So the roll is 10.5 inches, and he's cutting them into 3/8. So how many of these is he going to be able to cut? Do it. Okay, number 1, 4 1/6 is 25/6 times the reciprocal of 10 is 1/10. Simplify, then multiply. Number 2, 6 1/2 is 13 halves times the reciprocal of 3/4. Simplify, then multiply. 26/3 is 8 2/3. Number 3, 3 3/4 is 15/4. 5 5/8 is 45/8. Multiply by the reciprocal. Simplify before you multiply. Number 4, sorry, it's really messy, but when I was doing this, I multiplied 3 by 24 and didn't add the 2, so I had lots of issues. So 24 times 3 plus 2 is 74/3, divided by 4 plus 3 is 7/4, which is 74/3 times the reciprocal. 74 times 4 is 296. 3 times 7 is 21. When you divide that out, it's 14 2/21. So he needs at least 15 strips because he needs a little over 14 strips. 5, 10 1/2 divided into 3/8. So 10 1/2 is 21 halves times the reciprocal 8/3. Simplify before you multiply. It's 28 slices that he can get. It's a lot of slices. Time for the reflection. This is it, your last reflection. I can divide mixed numbers. Dividing mixed numbers is just like dividing fractions, but you have to change the mixed numbers into blank blank before you multiply by the blank. Here's how I show work to divide mixed numbers. So go ahead and divide those out. Show your work, right in simplest form. Now, in the 3 problems below, only one is correct. The correct one is which one? A, B, or C? Put that here. Circle the part that's wrong with the 2 incorrect ones. So you have to go through here, and one of the parts of it is going to be incorrect. But one of these 3 is right. Go. And then your last learning objective check-in for our lessons. Right here, lesson 8, fill out the middle column.